Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Wake Up Wednesday. I am Laurie Majka. I am the host of the Laurie Majka YouTube channel, and I am so glad to have you here with me today. I'm just doing a quick mic check. I'm trying to have the microphone more in front of me so that I don't have. I had a couple of lives ago. So if you can hear me just fine, give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, give me something in the comments so that I know that we are alive and on the streaming platform. It's always a little bit confusing here to do this. So I wanted to start the way that I always do by welcoming you. Thank you so much for being here. You are amazingly beautiful, powerful souls. And by affecting the ripple in a positive way, we are all helping to wake up the collective. And I am so grateful for every single one of you who tunes in to watch all the content, who tunes in and takes the time out of your schedule to join me for a live today. We'll stay on until your questions are answered. But the way that I always start is I want to start with a couple of synchronicities that have happened in the last week. And of course, as we're getting going, make sure that you're putting your name, not just your YouTube handle, so that I know who I'm talking to in the chat when you're asking questions. And I'll be checking in with the questions in a little bit, and we'll get to all of them. It can be about a video that was recently released or even released a long time ago. I mean, you can ask me questions about any of the content on my channel. You can ask me personal questions. You can ask me spiritual questions. I am not a medium, so I do not have the ability to look into the future or connect with passed away loved ones like some of the guests on my show do. I am definitely intuitive, and I have a pretty good grasp on what I've experienced on the other side. I absolutely do not have all the answers. I feel that anybody who tells you they do, I would run really fast, because the longer I do this, the more experiences I have on the other side, the more deep conversations I have with people, quite frankly, the more questions I have. So that's probably the way it's supposed to be. I don't think we are meant to understand everything from this human perspective. But this show is really about you and about answering the questions or talking about topics that you want me to cover. So I'll be checking in the comments in a little bit, but I'm going to start with synchronicities. So I had a really fun synchronicity that happened over the weekend. I had a really good friend of mine come over to my house, and we were just going through the different things in the house. And she's a really gifted designer. And I was just asking her for her opinion on different things that I've done from a design perspective. And she made a suggestion for me to change something I've wanted to actually do for a long time, but wasn't sure if I really wanted to invest the time and the commitment to do it. And she confirmed that I should do this project. And so I had to get some help. It's a project I can't do on my own. I can do pieces of it. It's actually a tile project. And so I was just taking a couple of pictures, and I noticed in one of the pictures that I took that my clock, the only clock that was actually visible, said 555. And if you've been on the channel for a while, if you've been on a spiritual journey for a while, you know that synchronistic numbers, repetitive numbers, 1111, 333, all those numbers are little calling cards from the universe, little confirmations that tell us that we're in the right path or that are trying to show us something. So I thought that was super fun. And then later on, I actually had the tile person come out to look at my job again. This is somebody I've worked with before, and he was giving me a quote. And while he was doing that, I just was making notes. And as soon as he left, I ordered all the projects for the material. And as soon as I did that, Hold the Line began playing. Like as soon as I hung up the phone, that put everything into motion. Hold the Line began playing. And Hold the Line is the sign from my passed away loved one, Mark, who was a lead guitarist of the band Starship. And the last time I saw him alive, he played 4 songs with the band Toto, the lead singer of Toto. And that was one of the songs. And for many years now, it's been the standard of how he communicates with me to let me know that I'm on the right path. So I thought that was super fun, and I wanted to share that with you guys today. The other thing is that I've decided to make one change on my YouTube channel. If you've been with me for any amount of time, you'll know that I've been publishing at a really almost a crazy pace. And what I mean by that is I do 3 long form full-length interviews a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I've been doing that for, oh my gosh, I think maybe almost 2 years. And it's a lot of pressure to do that because I do have a full-time corporate job. And I've started to get to the point where it's almost not manageable anymore because every moment that I'm spending outside of working my corporate job or outside of the YouTube channel, like for example, when I had my daughter here this weekend, when I was visiting with my friends on Saturday, my thoughts keep going back to the YouTube channel. And the overwhelming thought is, I've got to edit, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. It's like you finish editing one video and you check that off and you don't even get to enjoy you've done that. You immediately have to go to the next one. And that's how my life has been for a really long time. And I've decided it's not healthy for me to keep that pace up. And I'm going to dial it back temporarily, back down to 2 full-length interviews a week. So it's still a pretty heavy pace to do that. So I'm going to change my publishing schedule to a full-length video on Tuesday, a full-length video on Friday, and then shorts on all the other days. And then the live still gets published the day after we do them. It gets published on Thursday. So I feel like I'm still providing a lot of free content to everybody. It's just going to make it a little bit more manageable for me because as you try and grow on YouTube, the more you do this, the more you also uncover. And I've spent a couple of hours with somebody who is an expert in YouTube analytics. And one of the changes I'm trying to make is with my intros and making them a little bit more compelling, making them stronger. So if you've noticed over the last year, I've gone from just a person talking in the intro to a full B-roll, which means videos behind what people are saying. And now I'm trying to work a little bit with sound, having additional sound pieces that choreograph, I guess, the intro. And the reason I'm doing that is because there is a massive drop off in the first 60 seconds of a video. If you don't catch somebody's attention, we are now, I think, incentivized to pay shorter and shorter amounts of attention to things. We're being driven by shorts where, 5 years ago, we weren't driven by shorts. YouTube, was long form content and not short form content. And now even YouTube is incentivizing people and channels to really focus on short form content. If you notice, when you pull up your YouTube channel, you immediately get 3 to 5 short form videos, shorts, as suggestions, and only usually 2 long form videos as suggestions. So that tells me that YouTube is really trying to capture the short form attention. And that's kind of a difficult thing because now it means that it's harder and harder to engage people with these long form contents because number one, you're not getting as much of a variety as a suggestion. So that means if I'm one of the 2 videos that's suggested and somebody clicks on it, if it's not compelling, they click away really quickly. So I'm investing a little bit more time in my intros because I spend a lot of time doing these interviews, and the people who come on my channel to be interviewed by me, I want to do them justice. I want their content to go to more people because some of these interviews are extraordinary. And I think so I'd love to hear from you guys about what you think about that. I hope that YouTube is not going to punish me for doing that because in the past, when I've missed a video, I can definitely see a decrease in the amount of views or the amount of showing that YouTube has with my videos. So it's all an experiment. But in the end, I'm doing this not for monetary reasons. I've always done this because it's my calling to help wake up the collective. I know that that is part of why I'm here right now. And I want to be true to everybody with the content that I'm providing, but I also really want to enjoy my life. I've been in love with my life for a long time and I want that to keep pace. I don't want to be spending time with people in my life and having to think about what I'm not doing on my YouTube channel. So that's the change I'm going to make. I've talked about making some changes with my corporate job this year. So we'll see when that comes into fruition. But when that happens, I will probably go back to 3 full-length videos. So that's what I'm working on right now. So love to hear from you guys. But it's a perfect segue into a video that I'm going to be releasing this Friday. So Friday, the 3rd of April, 2024. 6 is when we're talking about, because I know these videos live for a long time, and somebody watching might be watching from pretty far in the future. But the video that I'm going to be releasing is very different from my normal content. And this video and interview came about because I interviewed a woman named Vicki Warner. She had a near-death experience, and she also had an experience where her husband and son passed away within, I think, a month of each other. So it was an NDE and her having to process the death of some loved ones. And she mentioned her brother, who is a student of Edgar Cayce. And that caught my attention because if you don't know who Edgar Cayce is called the sleeping prophet. He is a man who died back in 1940. He did 20,000 regressions where he would be asked questions and he would answer them with direction from wisdom on the other side. This man had an 8th grade education. He did over 9,000 medical readings for people. He saved thousands of lives. It's documented. And he had nothing more than an 8th grade education. And he was giving people very profound and very controversial at the time medical advice. He's actually accredited in a medical society for the work that he did because he was able to create different remedies that are still used today for certain ailments. And this man who I interviewed is an expert because he read all 14,000 available Edgar Cayce readings. 14,000. And these are not something that you would sit down like a book and open it up and just begin reading something like a chapter. The depth of what it would take to read one of these readings were hours and hours of kind of dissecting them. To me, it almost sounds like when you're sitting down to read a clinical study where you really have to read between the lines, you have to understand what the parameters are. And this man is prolific in the material that he's consumed, not only with Edgar Cayce, but also books written by Edgar Cayce. And I had the most fascinating conversation with him. We talked for about an hour and 15 minutes before we even started recording. I almost wish I had recorded the whole session. And then we had a really beautiful. I'm so excited to release this video on Friday because the insights that he has gathered by weaving together information throughout all of the readings is extraordinary. He has all kinds of tricks and tips and hints and techniques that you will be able to use and apply into your own life. And he also has recommendations for books that have changed his life. So he was a real estate agent and also a developer in Utah. And he was doing extraordinarily millions of dollars overnight when that incident happened with the housing collapse in multimillionaire to not being able to pay any of his bills, foreclosing on most of his properties, and doing odd jobs just to keep his family fed. And then he started digging into Edgar Cayce, and he started realizing that there were real techniques that he could apply into his own life to help him manifest. He is now a multi-millionaire many times over. He's not about the money. He's about how he can help people. And that was why I was so excited to talk to him. You'll hear the genuineness of what comes through as he's sharing all of these insights on Friday. But the reason I'm telling you about all this is because there was a super cool part of this that has just touched me so much and caused a cascade of an event that happened to me on Monday. And it continued on to now. And then I will get to the comments and we'll answer everything that you guys want to talk about. Okay. In the video with Vincent, this is the line that he said, this little paragraph I'm going to read to you. Every thought we think is going out from us like a ripple on a pond. And it goes out and it hits the bank, and then it goes right back to the sender. And that's the magic. What I've learned to do is to control my thoughts and make sure that my thoughts are building something for me and not tearing something down for me. Seriously. Ever since I heard him say that, I've been thinking about concept. I'm sure it's not a new concept for you. I've talked a lot on this channel about thoughts and how thoughts create our reality. I've interviewed so many people who have confirmed in their experiences that our thoughts are creating our reality, good or bad. And as I thought about this, it just hit me in such a way. And then I had this experience. So on Monday morning, I had to get up really early to hike with my friend. She has a super early class that she attends after we hike. And so she makes me go earlier than I would like to. I'm not a morning person. I'm a forced morning person. And I really do not enjoy getting up anytime before 5 a.m., but I do it regularly. And on this morning, I was kind of, I don't know, I was in a mood about having to get up at that time. Not a bad mood, but just a little annoyed at my plight of having to not being able to sleep in until I would like to. And I was also ruminating over what I was going to do with my YouTube channel, whether I was going to cut down one video a week. And so I was discussing this on the way up the mountain on my hike with my friend. And I said to her, I feel like because I am in this position where all I do is work 70 hours a week, the one thing that I've had to let go of is self-care. And I'm a big advocate of red light. We talked last week about what I've learned with anti-aging. And I think that red light therapy, not the masks that you put on your face, but the real panels. I am actually a red light therapy expert. I worked for a red light therapy company for a long time. I was their VP of business development. And I know a lot about red light therapy. I've done some videos on YouTube. And anyway, I know that I should be doing it, and I haven't made the time, even though I have panels that are large enough and powerful enough that I only have to do it for like 10 to 20 minutes a day. And I have not made the time to do that. I also have not been stretching. And sometimes I'm so busy, I don't even. So I expressed all of this on the and I also vented a little bit about how I have to get up so early and I feel like I really don't get enough sleep. And so on the way down the mountain, something unusual happened. I fell. I've hiked this mountain over 2,000 times. I've maybe fallen 5 or 6 times. Usually it's related to the mountain being wet. But what happened on Monday morning is I was hiking, I took a step, my foot got stuck, just caught under a rock. And because of how I was stepping, my right foot stepped on top of my left foot. And I had this moment where time kind of froze and I knew there was nothing I could do. The only thing I could do was fall and fall forward. And I did, and I fell pretty hard and I banged my knee. I don't think I'm permanently injured. It's a little bit swollen. I definitely, it was bleeding for the rest of the day because I hit it just and opened a wound. But more than that, I banged it and it hurt to walk for the whole rest of the day and yesterday. And I'm getting close to nursing it. And as soon as that happened, I wasn't mad because I knew instantly that it happened for me and not to me. And I knew that I created the event because of what I said earlier. I'm really not kidding. I know this is a direct manifestation of what I said. I'm now being forced to slow down. I'm now being forced to sleep in because I can't hike for a few days. And I've had to use red light every single day. So I'm super hyper aware of how our thoughts affect us. And the reason I want to tell you this is because not only did that happen, but I got a pretty unusual confirmation. So when I was getting ready to do this live today, I take a piece of paper and I write down things that I want to talk about. And I wrote down that whole thing that I read you about Vincent's saying from his video interview about Edgar Cayce. And then as soon as I finished writing it, I left to go get camera ready. And I've been listening to a new book. And if you guys don't know about this little trick, I really don't have time anymore to sit down and read as much as I love to read. I really have been too busy to do it. But a friend of mine told me that if you have a Spotify if you have a Spotify membership, so you're paying for Spotify, paid version, you get a certain number of credits, and they've got audiobooks, and you can go into the audiobook section and you get a certain amount of hours per month to listen to audiobooks for free. It doesn't cost you anything extra. And so I decided that I was going to listen to this audiobook because I listened to this interview by a man named Dr. Christopher Blocked, Bache, who wrote a book called LSD and the Mind of the Universe. He did 75 high doses of LSD, like super high doses. He recorded all of his sessions, and it took him 5 years to compile everything he experienced in consciousness on the other side. His story's fascinating. I want to have him on my show. And I'm reading this book because I know that some of the things he experienced have mirrored my experiences on the other side. So as I'm getting ready and I have a few minutes, I'm going to listen to the audiobook while I'm getting camera ready. And I turned on his audiobook, and this is from this word, what I heard. The essence of the teaching was this: we are self-generating fields of energy in a living universe. We generate energy by making choices, and the universe responds to this energy. Thus, in complex and subtle ways, we are always creating our own experience. I saw this feedback working on several levels simultaneously. Some cycles took minutes, some years, some lifetimes. We control the flow of energy out from and back into our lives. What comes to us from without originates from within. The more one moves towards one's center and engages the deeper levels of one's conditioning, the more one becomes conscious of being the source of one's experience. If my energy is clear, my experience will be clear. Only by reaching one's core can one become complete, unconditional, and free. So if that wasn't a confirmation to what I read to you earlier and what happened to me on Monday, and wanting to share this with you today, I don't know what is. But this is how my life works, full of synchronicity. So with that, I've been talking for a long time. I'm going to go to the comments. I'm going to start from the beginning, and let's see what you guys are saying. So again, I'm so happy that you're all here today. Okay, let's see here. Sounds great. People are saying hi. Ian is saying I experience mind-blowing synchronicities. One video a week is great. Oh, thank you. Well, you're going to for loving the channel. I'm just like, that makes me want to cry when I read these comments from you guys about how much you love the channel. Like, it seriously motivates me to keep going. So thank you so much. So somebody said he is amazing. I don't know if you're speaking about Christopher, whose book that I'm reading, or you're speaking about Vincent. Vincent, by the way, when he comes on my channel, it is the first time he's ever doing an interview with anybody about his Edgar Cayce studies. So he's done some talks to small groups, but he's never done anything on a channel. So I'm so excited to be able to bring this to you guys. All right. Everybody's saying hello. We appreciate your work. The help that you provide is higher than the YouTube restriction. Thank you. Yes, I agree. I wish more people would believe in the afterlife. Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. I use red light too. Oh, that's amazing. I think, I actually think I might have jumped on this. No, I think we're good. Okay. Feel better. Thank you. The other side is within yourself. Absolutely. 100%. And then Henry says, I found it by meditating on Jesus Christ and the divine. I think Jesus is love. I think he's our best example of love that we've ever had. Jesus loves the inner seeker. And then I don't know who this is because it looks like it might be Diane. I found you after my mom passed and trying to connect, still grieving. Oh, I'm sorry for your loss. So this channel and this time and this live is about you. I kicked it off. I started it. What do you guys want to talk about? What do you want to know about? What is moving you? What touched you about what I said about our energy and our thoughts actually creating the fabric of what we are experiencing. Does that resonate with you? Is it hard for you to understand? Are you getting it when I say that everything is happening for you and not to you? And I mean the good, the bad, and the ugly. Does that make sense? So much to all of this. Let's see. Henry said, inner peace and awareness. Okay, so you would like to talk about inner peace and awareness. Okay, so one of the things that I've done to help create inner peace is that I have for a really, really long time been working on my thoughts, what I allow myself to think, what I let creep in. It's been a work in progress. I am definitely not perfect at it. I don't even know if I would say I'm great at it, but it's funny, the more that I have concentrated on how much our thoughts shape our lives, the more things come up and somebody says something, and I actually either say out loud or think to myself, I don't even think that way. And if you're finding yourself in conversations in groups of people and they're talking about things and you think to yourself, I don't even think that way. I don't even entertain thoughts like that. Like thoughts like that don't even come up anymore. Then I think that you're on the right path, because I think that when we can get to the point where we know that we're not saying bad things about ourselves or really criticizing other people when we're, having these interactions, that is what really evolves us, because even thinking thoughts about somebody else, even though you're not saying it out loud, it's all energy and people can feel the energy. And if you are saying one thing and thinking something quite the opposite, the disingenuousness of that is an energy signal that's felt. Whether somebody's consciously aware of them feeling it or not, they do. Because we're all energy, whether we've turned on our clairs, our claircognizance, our clairaudience, our clairvoyance, whether we've consciously turned them on or not, we all have them. And to what degree we're able to connect to them and to assess situations that we're in, to read energy signatures, is really done with practice. But everybody feels all of that. Let's see. Going back to the comments. So the thoughts really resonate. I've heard that before on your interviews and trying hard to change that, especially so sad much of the time. Oh, Diane, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you are feeling so sad much of the time. One of the things that you can do is when you're feeling sad, start making a list of all of the little things that you're grateful for. Like if I'm sitting here right now and I started to feel sad, I can hear the wind tickling the wind chimes in the backyard. And it's such a magical sound. And I'll focus on that and think about how grateful I am that I can hear sounds like that, that kind of lighten me and make me feel happy. When the windows are open, I've noticed it because it's spring, the birds are going crazy. And I sit there and think about how lucky I am that I live in a country that hasn't used so many pesticides that we've killed all of our birds, and that I can hear them. And I spend time every day in nature. I spend time in nature because it's grounding. And speaking of grounding, one of the things that you can do that I do think changes you energetically is connecting with the earth. Even if you can do it for just a couple of minutes, standing on the grass, standing on the rocks. You can't really do it on concrete because rebarb runs through the concrete. You can't really do it in your house because your house is probably built on a wooden platform and it's not really connecting to the earth the way that you would feel that energetically if you were to stand on the earth. But I think that that's really healing for people. But focusing on all of the little things, the smallest things, like maybe enjoying the shade of the sky that it is today, or the clouds as they're going by, or the sunshine on your face, or the warmth of it, or the rain that's feeding everything so that we can have a green spring. Whatever it is, we all have blessings that are around us if we just focus on that instead of on the emotions that are going through us. And you start to understand that things are happening for you and not to you, I think the sadness can listen. I also think it's very healthy to feel your feelings and not let them get stuck inside your body where they can manifest into other ailments or conditions that limit you, maybe limit your movement. So there are lots of things you can do to help overcome all of those conditions. They're at your fingertips. They are free. You don't have to spend money to do them. I know a lot of people talk about meditation. I'm not a meditator, so I can't really speak to it. I do what I call walking meditation, not quite the same, but there are lots and lots and lots of things that you can do to take your focus away from emotions. I'll say that. Okay. Let's see. I pick up negative vibes from people. Yes, I'm not surprised. I would imagine that everybody here has had an instance where they felt something and they listened to the words that somebody was saying to them and it didn't feel right because underlying there was something else that was being thought. I think we can all think of examples of that. And some of you are probably more empathic, meaning that you connect to others' feelings, others' energy signatures, others' emotions, and pull them in. Sometimes you're not even aware that they're not yours. So maybe check that too. If you're feeling feelings and you don't know why you're feeling the feeling, maybe you're empathic, and then put a white light of protection around yourself. Imagine a bank of mirrors around your body with the mirror side facing away from you. And then imagine that anybody who has any thoughts or emotions that don't belong to you, as they come toward you, they hit the mirror and bounce off. Maybe either physically get in a shower and feel that water, there's something about water that washes away energies of other people and also repurifies you. And you can ask when you're in the shower to be protected, to let all of the energies that don't belong to you kind of slide off of you and go down the drain. And then you can put the mirror around you and imagine that anybody's emotions cannot penetrate through that bank of mirrors so that you keep and protect your own emotions and you're not taking on other people's emotions. So that's another trick that you can use. Okay. I really enjoyed your sister on the live. Please bring her back. It's so funny that you would say that. My sister was actually in town. She came into town to watch my dog while I was on my trip to Sweden and Norway. And she was supposed to do the live when I came back, but she was so exhausted from watching the dogs that she went and took a nap and fell asleep and did not come on the live. But at some point in time, when we have more time, I'll definitely have her on another live. We just don't live in the same state, so it's kind of hard for us to do that. And I don't know how well I don't know that I could add another person like I could on a Zoom call onto this platform on YouTube. I just don't know enough about it. So let's see. This person who doesn't have their name, but it might be Juan, said, if we are never judged, why do we as humans judge others so much? Okay. I feel like judging is a conditioning. We're conditioned from the time that we're born to evaluate our surroundings. Everybody has to make judgments. We have to make judgments to survive. This was more important when we were probably living on the plain and migrating and hunters and gatherers. But making judgments definitely kept us safe because we had to judge other people, how they were approaching us. Were they going to be friends? Were they going to be enemies? And I think that that just never left the human condition. And so we judge because it's natural to judge. Judging can be done in different ways. I guess judging doesn't have to be bad. Judging can be good. But on the other side, the reason that, let me say this, the reason that we judge somebody else is because we haven't walked long enough in their shoes to understand why or how somebody could do something. I remember many, many, many years ago, like maybe when I was in my early 30s or late 20s, watching a show I think it was called 2020. And they were interviewing a person or talking about a person who had committed some pretty egregious crimes. I think they might have killed their own mother and maybe killed somebody else. And the reporter went all the way back to the very beginning of this person's lives and did a deep dive assessment and found out this person had had some issues with abandonment and maybe neglect and all these different things. And then they had been in conditions where they lost jobs for certain reasons, and there were some circumstances were out of this person's control. And at the end, when they got to the current state of the person's life where this person had committed these crimes, the assessment that the journalistic person doing the interview made was that if I personally had had all of those experiences, am I confident that I would not have done the same? And that person's answer was no. So I think the reason that we judge is because we don't know enough. We make assumptions. We're looking at things through our lens of perspective, which is different than somebody else's perspective. Your perspective is a result of all of the experiences that you have had that led you to right now. And that's why two people can see the same incident and describe it completely different. And on the other side, they have the ability to not only access every moment of your life, every thought that you had, but they also can access your entire soul's history from all of the multiple lives. And if you don't believe in reincarnation, I don't think it's a subject for debate anymore. There is a mountain of evidential evidence that we come back and we have more than one life. I've talked to many, many people. I interviewed a man who studied under Dr. Ian Stevens, who's one of the most famous people who researched children who remember past lives. And he wrote the guy I interviewed wrote a book called, Many Souls. I think it's Many Souls. There's a picture of a child on the front of it. But anyway, I can put it in, I'll put it in the comments. I'll pin a comment on this after this live is up, and I'll put the link to the interview with him. So I definitely think that we are influenced in this lifetime by all the lifetimes that we have also lived, or all of the experiences. And it doesn't mean just human ones. I think we have experiences in other dimensions. We have experiences in other realms outside of our solar system, outside of maybe this universe that we're in. So I think that on the other side, the perspective is so different that that's why there's no judgment, because we're all powerful souls coming here, turning off the memories we have about who we are, who we've been, forgetting that we're a collective, forgetting that we are all one source having an experience to come here and have our earth experience. And so we do the best we can, and that's why we're not judged when we go back. That's why everybody goes back. We're having an experience. We're having an experience that is for the joy of the experience. And the reason I say that, somebody in the comments got upset with me in the last 2 weeks about me saying that I understood on the other side that this life is inconsequential. That wasn't my word. That was a word that was given to me. And I don't think it meant unimportant, because our lives are important. Our lives matter. What we do here absolutely matters. We all affect each other by everything we do. But what they mean by inconsequential is that if you look at the scheme of eternity, or eternal beings, eternity is not a time constraint, it's a state of being. But there's no end and there's no beginning to that state. So it would be like me saying to you, if you've lived 60 years on this planet, hey, tell me about the 1st of October, 1980. Like, you probably, unless it was your birthday, unless something significant in the world on that day, you probably cannot remember, and that day isn't important. It doesn't stand out in the scheme of everything. So if you were an eternal being and you had an eternity to have these different experiences, this is one of them. And since time is different on the other side, they've said over and over again, people who have had near-death experiences and come back have said about time, it feels like the loved ones who die and are on the other side waiting for us, they feel like they saw you yesterday and they're going to see you tomorrow. You might have to live 20 or 30 years before you see them again. But to them, this experience feels like a 10-minute experience, where for us, our experience is for 80 years. So in the depth and breadth of who you are as a soul, this life is just one of so many. And in that way, it's important right now because our focus is on it. But in the scheme of everything, it doesn't have as much weight as it has from our perspective here. And so that is why I think we're not judged on the other side, because we've come here for the joy of the experience. And I know sometimes it doesn't feel like this is the joy of the experience, but I'm going to tell you something. For all of you who think you're not coming back and you're like, this is it, I'm not coming back, I'm not doing this again, I'm going to spoiler alert, one of the parts of the interview I did with Vincent. Vincent read those 14,000 experiences that Edgar Cayce spoke to, the readings that Edgar Cayce did. How many out of 14,000, how many people do you think he said to them, this is your last earthly incarnation. You don't have to come back anymore. You're not coming back. This is it. How many? How many do you think? It was 10 or 20, sorry, 20. 18,000 readings. Now, granted, 9,000 of them were medical. I don't know how much he got into the lifespan of everybody, address that question, all of them. But that's not a big number. Not a big number at all. So I think most of us are probably coming back. Nobody is forced back. You absolutely pick this. 100%. I have no question about that. That's something I feel like I know for sure. I don't think that there's such thing as a prison planet, and I don't believe in that concept. Okay, I'm going to go back to the comments for a little bit. All right. I hope that answered your question, Juan, about judging. Yeah, that was a long answer to that question, but that's a really important thing. I think it matters a lot with the judging. Believe in earthing. Yes, me too. Breathing techniques. Oh, another great one. I I was really big into the Wim Hof breathing. I have to confess, if you're going to start a breathing technique, please sit down. I was told that, did not listen to it, passed out, fell completely on the floor from a standing position trying to do a breathing exercise. I think I overdid it. But I do think that there's so much about controlling your nervous system through breathing. All right. Juan is saying, I live inside the tropical forest here in Puerto Rico, and nature is awesome for everyone. Oh, how amazing. Somebody's saying that they were just there. Beautiful. Grounding yourself helps with stress management. I agree. White light protection. Somebody's agreeing with that. Okay. Somebody, Dr. I can't tell what your full name is. Laurie, I've had numerous STEs, so spiritually transformative experiences, that have provided me real hope in the afterlife. My son recently died by suicide, and many of your guest testimonies helped me. Okay, first of all, it breaks my heart that you had to have that experience. I am so sorry to have lost a child. It's just not the natural, it's not the natural way that we're, most people experience life, and I'm so sorry for that loss. One of the things that I will say to you, and I hope this really helps, is that through talking to all of these people who've had these experiences, and through watching, reading, and listening to probably thousands of these experiences, one thing that I've talked about a lot is that nobody dies before their time. So whatever you experience through your son, I want you, if you are beating yourself up in any way, if you're holding yourself responsible in any way for anything you should have said, could have said, did not say, anything that you think you should have done, could have done, did not do, please, please, please Release yourself from that. If it was not your son's time, he would not have gone. I do believe that we plan exit points. I do also believe that even if you are not aware of it, that you knew that this was either a possibility or this was something that would be very probable to happen. And I think that you contracted with him because through this experience, there are always so many good things that come out of it. It does not take away the pain of a loss, but I just want you to have that hope that there was nothing left unsaid. And then from a life review standpoint, we all have a life review. I believe that very, very, very strongly. When we have a life review, we not only relive every moment of our life from our perspective, but we relive it from the perspective of everybody we had an encounter with. So that means that your son has had a life review and he has relived every single moment that he ever had, not only from his perspective again, but from yours. And that means that your son now understands you in a way he never could have from this earthly perspective. He now knows you better than anybody else on the planet knows you because he got to experience you from all the perspectives. So there's nothing that you haven't said that he has not heard. There's nothing you haven't thought that he is not aware of. And he is reliving the pain of the exit, how it happened, and anything that you've said related to it. I also really believe that you can connect with your son through mediums, like really good evidential mediums, and through signs and synchronicities. How they connect with you isn't always up to us, but I do believe that they can connect again. So I'm so sorry for your loss, but I hope some of what I said helps you in some way or helps anybody listening in some way. Oh, that's deep. So deep. Okay. Laurie, Jesus said to someone that how can you judge a blind person? And just like you're saying, Laurie, because you're looking through your lens and your perspective. Yeah, exactly. Oh, hi. I'm so happy for everybody who's here. Okay, the answer for my question was great. Thanks. Oh, I'm glad you liked it. Thank you for your kind words and reassurance about my son's passing, Laurie. I'm so sorry. It makes me want to cry right now, just even thinking about it. So I don't know if I feel the energy of that or just try to. I mean, I can only sympathize. I can't empathize, but I'm just so sorry. But I'm also glad that you have an outlet like this and a community like this where you can connect to other people. There is a wonderful, wonderful organization. I don't know how old your son was, but it's called Helping Parents Heal. I interviewed the woman who founded that. She lives in the town that I live in. And there are so many people who have had near-death experiences, Jeff Olson, and oh my gosh, my mind is blanking at all of the names of people who are associated with that organization. But it's a wonderful, wonderful one. And if you need connection with people who have experienced things similar to you, it's helpingparentsheal.org. Elizabeth Boyson, that's the name of the woman who founded it. She's magical, as are so many people who are on the board for that wonderful organization. But I hope that helps too. Okay, I've had Zen. Please put your names if you can in your comments so I can address you like without your YouTube name. But Zen says, I've had many dreams where I see different people in the mirror that are not the current me, but I feel comfortable in those forms. Is this a sign of past or current simultaneous lives being lived? Absolutely, especially if you feel that was a question to ask. I'm sure that we would feel so comfortable, almost like a soul recognition, when you hear something that resonates, how it just resonates in your body. It's not like it's something that resonates in your mind or in your head. It's more like when that happens, you have to check in how you feel like in your heart space, or like that gut check of like intuition. How does that feel from an intuition standpoint? And that's how you know that those things are confirmations for you. And I think that not only do you live many lifetimes that you can access, but if time doesn't exist on the other side the way it does here, wouldn't future yous also be included in that because they're all happening at once? And other dimensional yous, there are lots of theories that people have about any decision you make creates an alternate timeline where you made different choices. So, yes, you could actually be experiencing those people, but I think that they would look similar to how you look. Maybe not identical, but certainly similar. But yeah, absolutely. Why not? I think that that's really how it works. I really do. And if we're all one, is it possible to tap into the Akashic records and experience lifetimes that we haven't even lived, but still feel a resonance? It's all one having an experience. So let that twist your mind a little bit. These are rabbit hole things that we're talking about here. I mean, these are super deep spiritual concepts. Is there guilt or remorse on the other side once they find out how they affected another? Okay. I am going to, I can only speak to, I have not had a life review. I can only speak to this through the lens of having conversations with a lot of people who have had these experiences and also watching and listening to experiences who I haven't had a live conversation with. So here's what I think happens. Since we have a higher self perspective on the other side, you'll hear about people talking about how their ego is dissolved or their ego is different. They no longer feel tuned into, once they reach the other side, or super connected to the life that they were living. You've heard of people leaving their body, looking back and not even that as their body, not having any connection to what they just left behind. And you'll having life reviews from a little bit of a dissolved ego perspective. But I've also heard many, many NDEers talk about the life review where they and only they judge themselves, not because what they did was good, better, or best, but I think that we judge ourselves when we fall short of approaching a situation with a greater amount of love. I think on the other side, we are a state of being of love. So that's why when everybody has a near death experience, I think the most common thread of NDEs is the amount of love that they feel emanating from the other side, like a love that they've never felt in this human incarnation. And so, from that perspective, if we are beings of love and we come here to love other people, to love animals, to love climbing a mountain, to love chocolate, to love all these experiences we have on earth, when we start to dissolve that human connection to the life that we had, we become more in the state of being of love. And then I think we probably do evaluate our life experiences from that higher soul perspective. And we know that we fell short in ways that we could have shown up with more love. We could have, I mean, you can sit here and reevaluate different things that you've gone through in your life, especially as you evolve and get older and wiser. And you have to take all the wisdom that you've accumulated and integrated into your life and your experiences. I mean, who doesn't look back at their 20s and go, "Oh my gosh, wow, like I want to punch that 20 like that. How could I have thought like that? How could I have been like that?" And I think that that is the lens that we're looking at our life review from, is a slightly higher, more evolved soul perspective than we have here. And that's why I think when people do come back and they have a memory of a life review and they see where they could have shown up better, they see where they fell short, people radically change their lives after having a life review. I mean, radically. There was a woman that I was supposed to interview last night. She got messed up in the time the time changed because she's in Ireland and she thought it was tonight and it was actually last night. So we've rescheduled for May. But she had a near death experience where she got stung to death by her own bees and she had a life review. And she realized that the only thing that mattered in her life review was that she was having happy experiences. And she realized she wasn't. She wasn't living the life of happiness and joy. She came back from her near death experience, and within weeks, she filed for divorce from her, what she described as a loveless marriage. She put her house up for sale. She sold all of her belongings and she moved into an off the grid cabin where she lives today. Like, people don't make changes like that unless they are so severely affected that they come back and do it all differently with that new perspective. So that's why I think life reviews are so powerful. It's why I'm obsessed with the life review aspect of near-death experiences. It's the whole reason I started interviewing people who had NDEs, is because of the life review. I don't think anything has the ability to affect us as much as that, and then the love that we are on the other side. So I know that was another long answer to the question. I'm not watching the time at all. What time is it, you guys? Okay, I'm going to spend a few more minutes because I try to keep these to about an hour to respect your time, to respect my time, and everybody else who winds up rewatching these. So I hope that answers your question. Ian says, do you believe dreams can be visits to the astral plane? 1,000,000% yes. So I've talked a lot about my experiences with 5-MeO-DMT, and they know that DMT is produced in the pineal gland in the brain. And they think through years and years and years of studying DMT in patients that it is a chemical that releases the soul from the body. So DMT is released. It can be actually physically measured in a body. And they think that it's when it's released in the body, the soul is released, or maybe it's released in the body and the soul enters the body when you're a baby coming in, or when you have some of these spiritually transformative experiences, out-of-body experiences, and these NDEs. And I believe microscopic amounts of DMT are probably released every night while we're sleeping, connect and go to the other side. I don't think we always get to bring the memory of that back, because there are things that we could bring back that would change our experience for us. And if something will change the experience that we're curating, I think we're blocked from remembering it. I think that we probably have the ability to go and counsel with our elders on the other side, with the people who are helping us to achieve these different experiences that we want to have. I think maybe things in our life change and we go and sit with counsel and make changes and come back and then implement these changes into our life. So absolutely, I think the astral plane is that. And I think that there are a lot of people who are waking up to being able to have experiences in the astral that they are bringing back and consciously remembering. And I think it's all part of the Great Awakening. It's the time when our spiritual awakening is going to reach a point where there's a tipping point and we all as a collective evolve and do better. I really think that that's going to happen. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Oh, hi, Tammy. Oh, I look especially happy tonight. Thank you so much. I do feel super happy, even though I got hurt on Monday and I'm gimping around on my leg and I can't move like I do and I can't hike. I still am so happy. I seriously feel like I'm in love with my life. It is my greatest joy to spend time with you guys and talk about this. I do want to get to the point where these are a little bit more interactive conversations. I'm still trying to figure out how to do that. That'll be something I work on this summer. Henry said, Christ is God's treasure to us human beings. Absolutely. Thank you, Tammy, for always supporting me. Hey, there's something new. Okay, I keep seeing this in the comments, and we talked about this maybe on 2 or 3 lives ago. There's something called hype. I don't know how it works, but a few people like Patrick and I think maybe Tammy and Donna have been able to hype a video. I don't know what it is or how it works and how you do it, but what I do know is it's like a super like to YouTube, and it helps the videos a lot. So for those of you who want to help the channel, if you're not subscribed, the way that you can absolutely help is to subscribe. But more than that, the real way you help the channel is by watching the content and by sharing it with somebody who needs it. And then super hyping is great, and so are comments. I know not all the comments are positive. It's okay. I welcome every single comment. Every single comment tells YouTube I'm engaged, and it makes them want to show the content to more and more people. So that's the engagement that really helps. And I do have a question for you guys before we leave and before I sign off today. I'm going to build a community. I'm going to build a platform, and I'm not sure where to build it. I don't know if I start something on a Patreon. I don't know if I start something on a Facebook group. I don't know if I start something on another platform that I'm not even aware of yet. But if I had a platform where people could go, what I'm trying to do is I want to be able to let people access the comment commercial free. It will be a paid platform, but I'm going to give people more access to me and probably access to some of the guests in different ways. I have a lot of ideas of what I want to do, but I want to build community. I see AI as changing the landscape of the future and the way things are going to work. And before that really gets underway in a meaningful way, because I work in corporate, I sell AI, I understand what's coming on probably a level that maybe most people are going to be blindsided by. I want to create community while we can create community while we know what's real. So if you have ideas of where I could host something like that, I'd like to hear from you. What I'm trying not to do is I'm trying not to make people force people to learn something that they're not familiar with. I understand that my channel is not necessarily, the viewers on the channel are not necessarily up to the latest and greatest in technology, because I think the average age, the median age on the channel is like 45 and up. So I don't want to create more instability or limitations for somebody joining a group. So I'm just curious to see what you guys have to say. Oh, Tammy, is that question for me? Have I studied A Course in Miracles? I'll tell you my Course in Miracles story really quick. My mom gave me the book A Course of Miracles forever and ever and ever ago. And I think I've had it for 20 or 25 years. And then I finally gave it away. I never felt drawn to that book. I don't know why. I just never have. And it's one of those feelings like you ever either, I know so many people, I have super good friends who have read it more than once and people who have studied it, but for whatever reason, I just never felt drawn to it. So it hasn't ever been something that I've worked on. And now I kind of just don't have time for it. But yeah. Okay. Where do we learn more about red light therapy? Okay, I'll tell you where you can. If you want to learn in my voice about red light therapy, I have a channel. It might be kind of hard to find because it's an older channel. I think I did 6 or 8 videos. It's called Radiant Red Light Resource. And I know that you can go on somewhere in my YouTube channel. There's a link where you can see other channels that I'm connected to. And I connected that. It's called Radiant Red Light Resource, Laurie Majka, Majka. And I did 6 videos all about red light. I talk about how it works from a scientific standpoint and what it does for the body. I talked about some healing that I had. I talk about what it does for athletes. Like there's a ton of really good content that I created, but I never had time to really hype it and make it go further. And I probably should have. But back when I was talking about red light, like nobody had heard of it. I had to educate everybody every time I talked about it. But now it's more mainstream. It's just that you need enough power to get those joules of energy into your body. So that's where it is. Tammy says, I'd go on Facebook for your community, but I'd rather not. I know I'm not a big Facebook fan. So I think that's good for tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are powerful souls. You're beautiful beyond measure. You are love. What you do to another, you do to yourself. I am so glad you're here. It means that you are already awake. You already understand your ripple effect on everybody, and just keep doing what you're doing. I am so blessed to be connected to each and every one of you. And I'll look forward to connecting with you again on Wake Up Wednesdays live at 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love to everybody.